Hey everybody, Johnny here again with another tutorial for Fishworld Deco Architects Contest and Trading and Deco Fanatics Trading Emporium. I'm making trees and also the placement of trees to create perspective. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is the type of tree trunk we're going to use. I break it down to three types. The first one would be a solid deco, and that would be this right here. Just a full-on deco that you can work off of, by throwing decos on it. You know, that's pretty much the easiest route when creating a tree. All right, the second one that I consider is a solid deco like this one with limb extensions. All right, so you're gonna find there's this one. There's the other Halloween one. You have a coin one, and then you just basically you work off of it like this right here, and create your tree from there. The third one, which I don't have shown right now, is building the entire tree trunk out of decos, and every limb by independent individual decos. All right, so but I'm going to focus on these two right now to move on. Okay, so the next step I usually try to figure out is what type of trees are going to be. What time of year is it? Is it fall? Is it spring? Is it summer? So that's gonna tell you what type of decos that you're gonna go look for. Um, and I like to find at least two or three decos that will contrast real nicely and create diversity in the tree, because most of the time a tree is just not one solid color or whatever. And I like a lot of greenage in my trees. I don't really care for them to be all just all flowers or whatever, because most trees that I know, at least trees around here, they're pretty green. So that's usually what I go with, and then I'll add flowers in into the mix. All right, so the next thing I do after I have a mental picture of what type of tree I'm going to make and what type of colors I'm going to go with. I set the trees in their positions. All right, and what I'm trying you try to in a tank like this, you try to create perspective, and you create perspective by placing an object up close, one towards the middle, and one in the back, and then as things diminish, as they're further away, they're obviously going to diminish. They're going to get smaller. So your deco up close is going to be large, obviously, and then the one in the middle is going to be just a little smaller, and then at the end, of course, your house is going to be even smaller. All right, so this creates the effect of depth. All right, so that's how you create perspective in a tank. All right, then the next thing I want to talk about is overlapping. All right, and usually this is something you worry about ahead of time before you ever even get to your trees. What I like to do when I do a tank, I usually make my main focus, my largest creation first, or my centerpiece, and that's usually like a house or whatever. But you got to make sure that you can overlap it if you plan on overlapping decos. All right, and you do that by most of the time you do that, depending on the deco, but 9 times out of 10 by having the decos upside down. Um, okay, so you got like these decos. These are normal. They're not upside down or anything. And look, when you try to place a deco over top of it, that's not flipped. It's just covering. So if that house was made with decos that were all non-flip decos, you would have the issue of you could not put anything in front of it or overlap it. And but if you have a deco like this that's flipped upside down, then look at there, all your decos will stand in front of it. So that was the purpose behind when we made the house, to put a lot of the decos upside down. That's just you plan ahead, because you know that certain things are going to be in front of it, plants, trees, whatever. If it helps create the distance and perspective if something's in front of it that's larger. So that's how you do it. You flip decos upside down. But we covered that in the last one. But I just wanted to kind of go back over that again. And then, you can always, if you go to make a tree and put in front of it, you can always take and, flip your decos upside down, and it doesn't take very long to do that. Okay, so anyway, I've already started on a tree right here, as you can see. I've added a little bit of greenish to it already. And, you can't really get trees wrong. I mean, when we were working on the house, it all had, certain dimensions. It had to have pitch. The pitch on one side of the house had to be exactly the same as the other, or it wouldn't look right. And all the walls have to be plumb. Of course, trees aren't like that. Trees grow wild. They do their own thing. So it's something you can't really get wrong, and it's not something I could really teach you to do. It's just something that takes a little bit of practice. So I'm not going to focus too much on completing this tree. I'm going to finish up these decos here. I'm going to add in some of the contrast in, and then maybe throw some flowers in. But I won't spend a lot of time, shrinking decos and adding flowers in, because it'll kind of bore you to death. But I do have something more planned other than this. Once I'm finished with this tree right here. So we're going to add in some flowers, and we're going to add in some of these from the Greek. They make really, really good contrasting greens with the light green. I think they look great. It's hard to tell what they do with just this little bit right here, but if you see the whole tree, you'll see how really great this deco is. I'll give you a peek at a tank that was called Paradise Lost that I used this deco in with the Amazon Plant 2, and it did a really great job. Let me jump over to it real fast. Here it is right here. This is I used the Amazon 2 plant, and I mixed in the mosaic seaweed from the Greek section, and I think it did a really good job. Here's the Arctic moss that I'm using in the other tank, and then, like I said, the Amazon 2 plant. So this is an example of using 3 different decos together, and I made these trees right here, deco by deco. The heck happened? Alright, so we're going to move on back to the tank. I just wanted to show you an example of using those together. I think they did a really good job. Also, you can see how I overlapped the water and everything. So all that water had to be upside down. That's the same that's the example I was talking about, turning decos upside down. Here's also a fourth a fourth layer of creating distance is putting a limb like this up front, so you have like 1, 2, 3, 4 layers of creating depth in your tank. All right, so we're back over here again, and I'm gonna chug along a little bit and add a little bit more to it, but I showed you in this little tutorial so far of the full deco type of tree, which I haven't worked on it, and then a second type over here, which is a full deco and then adding extensions to it to create the tree. And it looks a little goofy right now, but trust me, it'll look better when it's all filled in. You want to do this to be able to see your limbs and just to add to it, but it'll look full when it's all done. This is just to get an idea. But then I talked about a third type, and the third type is creating your tree deco by deco. What I wanted to do, I wanted to do something a little different, a little special. I wanted to make something for this tutorial itself, and something I've never made before, like I did with the Terminator and a few others, something I don't have in my tank, something like I can offer to everybody and has never hit a tank before. So that's going to be the part 2, and it's going to it's going to be it's tree based and it's Halloween based. So until then, I'll see you on the flip side.